I'm going to share with you mistakes I've made learning to write music so you don't make them too. Today I'm going to share with you 5 things that did not work for me. If you're looking for a good way to waste time, I've got one for you. While you're writing, keep listening back to the music you've already written. If I had a minute back for every minute I spent listening to the first few bars of something I was just starting to work on, I would be 10 years younger right now. Stop spending your writing time listening. Write first, edit later. Not only are you not actually producing anything in that time, but you're training your ear that those few bars are a loop and they have nothing else that comes after them.
This is starting to get a little bit repetitive.
It's no wonder that I hear from students all the time that it's easy for them to come up with those first few bars and then they can't figure out what to do next. If you spend so much time listening to those first few bars, you'll never be able to move forward. There are also specific training techniques that did not work for me. For example, somewhere I picked up this idea that to learn to orchestrate, you should copy scores directly by hand. That didn't work at all. Years ago, I copied out Debussy's Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun by hand, thinking I would learn how to orchestrate like Debussy, but I really didn't learn anything.
Why would I do that?
It was just a mindless exercise in busy work, and all I ended up with was a sore wrist. Instead, what I probably should have done was written a score reduction, and then looked at how Debussy used the orchestra to express that music. I'll talk about how to do score reductions in a future video, so please subscribe if that's something you'd like to see. Number 3. Another mistake came directly out of the tools I use. With just the simple touch of the L key on my keyboard, I can loop a region in Logic. All of a sudden, I can go from a single bar idea to an infinitely long piece of music.
Well, that was easy.
But looping is unnatural. If you want something to feel organic, it needs variation and change. Looping and copy pasting are just so easy to do that sometimes I just do it by default. That's one reason why recently I've been trying to shift my writing process to be more notation oriented and away from the DAW. There are certain mindsets and patterns we fall into depending on the tools we're using. And in the case of a DAW, it's not only so easy to loop and copy paste, it almost feels like it's designed for us to do it that way. Number 4, probably the biggest mistake I made in college was trying to be fancy before I really knew what I was doing, essentially trying to run before I could walk. I remember in one class, I did a big band arrangement of Princess Leia's theme before I really had a basic grasp of big band arranging. Or if I had an assignment to write a simple AABA tune, I always had to do it in 7/8 or use some really weird scale.
I don't know why I make it so complicated.
I was always trying to get ahead of myself by being unique or interesting, that I was never really taking the time to absorb the fundamental lessons that I should have been learning. It's like trying to discuss international economic policy in a foreign language before you even really know how to order lunch. One day a professor actually pulled me aside and pointed out that I was doing this, and he told me the best assignment he had ever received was from a student who did the most textbook, boring vanilla voicings you could imagine. The student who submitted that piece showed that they understood the fundamental concepts, and even though they weren't pushing the boundary of 21st century music, it sounded great. They had learned the lesson, meanwhile I was trying to adapt neo-romantic film music to a sax quartet.
It's not good. No.
I wish I could say I listened to that professor and learned my lesson right there, but I didn't. I still kept searching for new information, new things to try. I've read so many books about orchestration that tell you what range instruments can play, but not really how to write for them. I've read so many books on musical form that tell you what to name the different sections, but not how to create a satisfying art. I've read so many books on harmony that talk about how to resolve the 9th of a chord, but not why a C major triad sounds boring in one context and mesmerizing in another. I kept thinking that maybe this new book will help me write an adventure action cue, or this one will help me when I get stuck in those first 8 bars. And that's ultimately the biggest mistake of them all. All of that time I spent searching for the secret to writing music, when really what I should have been doing the whole time is just writing music. If you want to get better at listening to French, you need to listen to French. If you want to get better at ice skating, you need to be out on the ice. Yes, you can study music theory, you can listen to bar talk, you can take another orchestration course, but if you want to get better at composing, you need to compose. That's how you become fluent, develop a style, and become a prolific composer. If you want to get your music to the level where you're earning royalties from music libraries, check out this video here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.